Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. No matter what time of day it is where you're at, we want to welcome you here and we want to appreciate you joining us on this episode of the CVC Home Service Success Network. And today, hey, we got a recurring guest. He's one of my favorite guys to interview. And just to bring you up to speed, first time I met this guy, I asked him, I said, Tommy, what's your big dream in life? And Tommy has managed to do that. He wanted to become the most influential man, guy, or woman, or person in the home service industries. And he has accomplished that, in my opinion. Today, everywhere he goes, people flock to him, they ask him questions, and he's so giving of his information and the success stories. So we've set this interview up today and a special time at 5:30 to accommodate Tommy's schedule, which we usually go at 12 noon on Fridays Eastern time. But today, to fit his schedule, hey, we're on a different time frame. So Tommy, welcome to board, man. How you been doing, brother?
Oh, so good. You know, people say they're doing good, and you look behind closed doors, social media, everything else. I just got baptized a few weeks ago, building the house of my dreams. The relationship's never been better. A1 record after record. Just got done with a shop tour with about 30 people. I mean, best fitness I've ever been in, best shape. It's just, it's going really, really good.
And this is the influence you got because Tommy is going above and beyond just business now. I have a lady, and she actually has been to a couple of your presentations, came to Freedom event, and she actually, I think, has lost 45 to 50 pounds, where you inspired her to do that last fall when we were down in Orlando at your event. So you become such an influential person amongst people, not only in business, but just the way you conduct yourself and to see you go, man, is simply amazing. It's just an amazing thing. But anyway, I got some questions for you. And number one is you get asked a lot of questions. I mean, man, you go on your broadcast, you have talks with Tommy, ask Tommy anything. What's the biggest question that people hit you with? What's their leading challenge that you see in all these contacts?
There's either one of two. Number one is how do I get more leads? Or the second one is how do I pay people right? And the third one I would say is how do I pay a general manager? What is their role? And the pay for performance thing is a really big one because when I wrote the book Elevate, that was a big piece of it. And the next book I write after my ADHD book is going to be Pay Them What They're Worth. And it's going to really define how equity incentive programs work, how C-suite levels should be paid all the way down to the janitor on performance pay. They're all great questions. I've never really got a question that was dumb because I've had the same questions at different sizes of my business. Like, what would you do if you were by yourself starting out? Great question. I was there. So lots of great questions, and there's not a one size fits all answer. But I just love answering questions, and I love doing it in a public forum because I might be able to help 1,000 people instead of one person.
Got you covered. And you're always putting out short videos. I mean, it's like every couple of days I see a short video. I listened to one of your broadcasts just this week, answering questions for people. But one of the things you put out that I think was really something people need to hear is that you can't enjoy the fruits of your success until you have made it. In other words, you talked about people that have a successful first year and they blow all their profits and then they wonder where they're going to go to next. And I think people need to know you're building an immaculate home out there in Phoenix, but you lived in a really small place for a lot of years. It wasn't what you would call a mansion or anything of that sort. You reinvested into the business. And I think those are the things that you share with people that mean so much that they've got to do these things. So let me go to my young friend Noah. Noah, what would you ask Tommy today? You're a much younger person. You're still in college, but what kind of questions would you ask somebody that's learned through the school of hard knocks like Tommy and I have?
For sure. Jerry has told me a lot about you. You sound like a very, very busy guy, a successful but busy guy. My first one was, how involved compared to when you started A1? How involved are you in the like day-to-day schemes compared to when you first started it?
I'm not. I don't do anything day to day. I don't even know how to log into the payroll system. I don't know anything about inventory. I don't even know how to pull a report anymore. I don't want to know. I hired people that are better, smarter, and faster than me. I used to do everything. I used to do payroll, inventory, run the calls, answer the phones, figure out the page structures. I'm proud to say that I didn't work myself out of a job because I still maintained the vision and the gas. Two questions I ask people: how well will the business run when you're gone for 30 days without ever touching it? And number two, the hard question: will it grow as fast without you there? Number two, I'm still working on. But there's a book called Built to Last by Jim Collins, and what he explains in this book is, will your business survive without you? And most people have too big of an ego. They're like, dude, without me, this business is not shit. With me, I say, I hope this business lives forever. I hope I built something so great. I planted a tree so deep with such a good root system that it bears fruit forever. And it's getting your ego. Your ego is never your amigo.
Does that make sense, Noah?
It does. Can I ask a follow-up question?
Sure, you can ask whatever you want, Noah.
A big thing when my parents were selling their company, I sat down and talked to my dad, was, how do you separate? It was the idea of, are we going to sell this company and let someone else run it? Or, do we liquidize it, call it good? How do you separate the emotional side of that, of, giving that trust to someone to completely run it to the point where, you, like you said, you don't know what's going on in the day-to-day there?
Well, today that was on my desk was a 40-page summary of the last 2.5 weeks. And I looked at every page, and I've got reports of everything. And, most problems with most companies is every company I've looked at, invested in, and the first thing is getting good data that I can rely on. And most of the companies, they always have this gray area. I'm still involved in a lot of the meetings, and I have a lot to say. So operationally, on a daily basis, I'm still pretty much run our Thursday meetings. I just, I like to look at things from afar as a macro instead of micro. When you get out of it, it's almost like going on a vacation and coming back and looking at everything. You kind of got a clear set of eyes. I am the CEO of this company. And I met this guy. His name is Adam Coffey. He wrote the Private Equity Playbook, the Exit Playbook, several books. And I said, what CRM are you on? And by the way, this is a $300 million company. He goes, I'm not even sure. And I learned a little lesson talking to this guy through the years. My job is to make myself useless. It's to maintain the vision and the motivation and the culture and continue to put people in great roles. How do you trust it? Because you trust your people. And you hire the right people and you keep them motivated by the right things, but you're always keeping an eye on the score. Just like your parents trusted you to get good grades, hopefully, but they still look at your report card and go to your teacher student conferences to make sure you were staying in line. And they would sometimes have to self-correct, take the Nintendo, or in your case, the PlayStation 3 away. So, a lot of people can't give up control. And I think that that's a bottleneck. But you do got to get involved at times. And you do need to, we've got a scorecard for almost everything in the company. Everyone knows where they stand. Everybody knows where their position in the company. There's a hierarchy. There's a flow. The fact that I don't know makes me stronger. Someone asked me a question. I'm like, I'm not sure, but I think you can know. You can either go to the manual or you can go to your supervisor. I used to have all the answers. And then I realized that was a detriment. So I definitely don't trust anybody else right now in the CEO position because they'd have to maintain my vision. And my vision is complete and utter dominance, complete domination. So I am involved every day in one thing. Well, two things. the financial status of our company. I know the EBITDA down to the penny every week, every day, every month. I know the revenue, and I know the marketing like the back of my hand. Everything in marketing reports directly to me. So I wouldn't say I don't know the day to day, but as far as the operations, I'm the like I think owners that aren't involved, founders, managers, CEOs that aren't involved in marketing are making a big mistake, because if you can't make the but one more caveat, and I'll let you keep going here. I used to think marketing was about clients. How do I get more clients? How do I get more clients? How do I get more clients? Now I've realized marketing is really about how do I get the right people. Instead of hiring, how do you recruit? If you get the right people on the bus, you can figure out exactly where you're going. And marketing is like the lifeblood of any company. It's so much more important than sales.
Interesting. So, Noah, did that answer your question?
I did. Thank you.
Yeah, because one of the things that I often tell Tommy, people talk about you, and one of the things I often share with them is I consider you to be a master delegator. And I consider you to be a person that's trying to make yourself the least important person in that business. You still got things you inspect for what you expect, those type of things. But you are a master delegator and able to find the right people to put in the right seat. So again, kudos to you, brother. So Cheryl, what would be your first question for our friend today?
First, I've got a statement. I need that butt kicking weight loss idea. So that's a personal note. Okay. On that, I've watched and heard you open a lot of different companies. I have listened to you take companies under your wing, buy into the companies. Which way is it easier to start your own, or is it easier to bring an outside company in?
Well, for me, by far, I don't think I'll start companies with the right founders, especially when it comes to software, because software is completely different. It's more innovative. But in home service, there's no way in hell I'd ever start another company from scratch. Not when there's so many levers I could pull with an existing company. I take an existing company, turn a couple knobs, I could 5x it within 6 months. Not to mention, I mean, there's different stages. And at the stage I'm at now, if I can't get, and it's going to sound, I'm as humble, I say this with the most humble way possible, but if I can't get 100 million out of it, it's,
Oops.
sorry.
That's okay. Whoops. Well, I think Tommy hit the wrong button for some reason. I saw his finger moving up there, and I think he just blocked himself out. So
Some upper level employee found he was giving away too many good secrets and kicked him out.
hey, you're
I'm
back.
back. This stupid thing. I'm sorry. I had to join on through Facebook. It's weird. So there I am.
Okay. So as I was, it kind of blew me there. I think I was asking a question right as this was going out. Yeah, Noah, did we get you addressed and Cheryl so far on your questions?
Yeah, I was pretty sure the answer, but I wanted for anybody out there that was sitting on the fence somewhere, I thought maybe that would be a good answer.
Okay, so Tommy, you've had experiences with a lot of people coming in and working with your business. One time I asked you a question, who had been the person that made the biggest difference in Tommy Mello's business? And
Al Levy.
I know that was your answer then. Is that still the same answer?
Well, by far Al Levy, but I will leave a little caveat. Dan Miller's a close second. And number 3, a guy I'm working with, his name's Dan Martell. And he wrote a book called Buy Back Your Time. And I work really closely with him. And what I didn't realize was everything Al taught me was everything Dan teaches, but he teaches it about your personal life. So now when you walk in, I always have house guests. I always have things going on. You pull like all your allergies, your type of coffee. Now I used to think, man, I'm not a cocky guy. I'm humble pie. And he said, you're selfish if you don't get a chef and a driver that's selfish. And I said, how is that selfish? Because your team needs you more. People need you. why would you cook your own? Do you enjoy cooking your own food? Is it your favorite thing? I'm like, no. And I said, what's the point of spending the money? He said, how much do you, he goes, you're thinking in dollars instead of percentages. He goes, you need to buy back your time of every aspect. You got a story to tell. You got people to help. He's got this trainer, and the trainer's jacked, like jacked. And he goes, why don't you take pictures with your shirt off and show yourself on Facebook? He goes, I'm not that guy. I'm not that cocky guy. He goes, who's that guy on the wall? He goes, you know that guy. He's Arnold Schwarzenegger. He goes, he's got his shirt off. He goes, yeah, I know. He goes, that's my hero. He goes, you don't think you'd impact people? He goes, that's selfish. That you wouldn't impact. People want to look like you. You work out hard, you're disciplined, and you're not going to show people that, and not to sell anything, not to be proud and cocky. He's not showing off his cars. He's showing off that he has, like, listen, I'm not posting a bunch of pictures with my shirt off either, but the point is, I definitely show myself working out because people are like, wow. So I had to view things through a different lens. And Dan opened my eyes to a lot of things. And then Dan Miller, man, when he entered into my company, he was a missing piece of the finance side. He recruited a CFO. That CFO is the number one CFO in the world. And then we got financial planning and analyst, FP&A. We got 3 of those people. And they dissect the numbers, and like, we're bringing in Power BI, doing all these things. So without that piece, and I think every home service business without this piece, we went from 12 million of EBITDA to 27.5 in 19 months with the right few people. Because we were able to go from 17% to 24%, renegotiate rebates, look at marketing a different light. And so, Al Levy's still it, because he found me in 2017 and he said, Tommy, I want you to stop reading. You're not going to events, no more podcasts of anybody else. He goes, you're going to listen to me or I'm not going to work with you. You got too many ideas. You're going to use my ideas. And when you master my stuff, you can start listening to other people.
And I hate to say this, Tommy, but I got a couple clients that I'm actually telling that to now, because they come back with so many ideas they can't focus into the priority items, if that makes sense. It's like something new here, something new here, something new here. It's like, whoa, we got to fix this base. We got to get your systems. We got to get the finances. We got to do all this. You got to slow down, So, yeah, I understand exactly where you're coming from, because that's some of the same conversations I have with people. So, Noah, what's next on your hit list? What would you like to know from Tommy?
Yeah, mine is, I'm going to switch it up a little bit on what I had planned. How do you balance the work and life just aspect of everything? Do you have certain guidelines in check for yourself just to make sure that, you don't get too consumed in work that you're missing out on certain family situations there?
So number one, there's a great book by Dan Thurman called Off Balance on Purpose. We go through seasons of life. Anybody that thinks you're perfectly balanced is full of crap. One day you're a father or a mother. Some days you got to be a good son or a daughter. Some days you got to be closer to God. Sometimes you need to reflect more. Sometimes you need to be a good student. I think there's seasons of life. But, number two is, I will say this. I sat down and I said, if I'm 75 years old and I'm looking back at myself at 41, I really had to manifest everything I did down to the detail. If I'm going on a vacation, who am I going with? What is the vision I view myself? What did I do when I walked in the room? Did I inspire? If there was a camera on me, especially a camera, my grandma's looking down from heaven through her telescope. Is she proud? So I haven't made the perfect time, but what you got to do is sit down once a year and block off the calendar and lock in the dates. And you got to take a few days to do this. You need to look at events and everything and plan on the family, the important things. But I'll tell you this. Tiger Woods probably misses Charlie's birthday every now and then. Tiger Woods won 4 majors in a row. Did he quit golfing? That was his passion. That is his passion. He's 1,000 balls a day. And when you love something and you're great at it and it becomes your superpower, you embrace it, but you still got to know how to carve time out. And carving time out, it's got to be planned time. It's got to be phone off in the moment, present time, which is very hard to do. And I've always lived in the future. That's just who I am. So I had to slow down and say, hey, before you know it, I'm going to be 51, then 61, then 71. And I don't have any kids yet. I'm 41. Thank God Bree's 25 or we'd be in trouble. But Father, I know for a fact, if God gives me enough time, I'm going to be the best dad ever. And the priorities are going to change. But in the meantime, I don't ever go to work. I enjoy Mondays. Whatever I do, I don't work like I used to work, because now I get to do shop tours and write books and go on podcasts and lead people and help them better their lives and help them accomplish their dreams. And yes, set records, because I'm a trendsetter. I'm the best I've ever been, but the worst I'll ever be, because tomorrow I'm going to be a little bit better. But this whole balance thing is, I don't know what burnout is, because you can't burn out. I don't think Tiger Woods is like, not another day of golf. I don't think Michael Jordan in his heyday was like, great, I got to play another game. So I kind of set my life up on purpose. And I know I'm here for greater things, and I'm just getting started.
So Noah, at your young age, do you get a grasp of what he's saying?
I do. I think it's a really cool and inspiring way to look at it, especially for like a young entrepreneur or someone who's invested in it like me. But, my big thing is whatever I end up doing in my life, like I do want to be able to set those priorities. And I think I completely agree. You can't perfectly balance either way, but I want to be able to make sure that I have the right amount of time for my family, my friends, whatever that is, but also be able to leave this earth and say, I did this,
Well, Noah, let me just tell you one thing, and you're not going to like this. You were born into your friends. They grew up in your neighborhood. And I love all my friends. Some of them are watching that I grew up with probably right now. You can't get rid of family. It's one of the things. They're going to be with you forever. They're your blood. You can't pick and choose your family. You got to make that work. But once in a while, when you get around somebody that doesn't inspire you, you realize, and it's hard to realize this, but it's a cage. And you're never going to grow past who you hang out with. If you want to become a better father, a better son, you want to become a winner, the best advice I could give you is put yourself in a room of winners and listen and give them, be a good person to give back to them too. Don't make it a one-sided thing. But if I didn't up my game with the rooms I'm hanging out with, the people I'm talking to, and the questions I'm asking, I've got 5 coaches at all times. And, I'm really inspired by Elon Musk. And one day, I don't know if I'll surpass him in money. But as far as well-rounded, I think he's a big giver, but he's very lonely. But I would just say, when you said make enough time for friends, you got to be careful, because at your age, worst thing you could do, is be around the wrong people. And if I've seen any fast track to success, it's one person that's been where you want to go. You start attaching yourself to those people. It's like a cheat code. It's like you don't got to go to first base, second base, third base. You just keep hitting home plate over and over again. In baseball, you could get, 4 RBIs. You could do a home run with bases loaded. But in business and certain things in life, you could hit 1,000 home runs. And it's really who you surround yourself with. And I've been around some of the wrong people at the wrong times. And thank God I've got a guardian angel looking after me, just guiding me. I don't know what it is, but I've always seemed to be at the right place at the right time.
Fantastic. Noah, you're getting a life lesson here today, young man. You know that, don't you?
I do. No, it's all, like I said, it's all such great information.
Fantastic. So, Cheryl, what'll be your last question here? I got one more, and I'm going to let you go next, okay?
That's not a question. This is directly to Tommy. Tommy, the first time I met you, you were like a rat on acid. Super acid, okay? I have seen you grow from a distance to a much different person than the guy that I met when we were at your shop that day. I admire you for that. And you've grown in the right direction. You've not grown out of your space, you've grown into your space. And I just want to say I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay.
You know, can I share? I want to share something real quick because I keep getting this. Is you seem more content, you seem more present, you seem more well spoken, and you know, my mom called me yesterday, and I put her on speakerphone. I was in a meeting. I go, "Hey, mom, what's up?" She's like, "I'm just leaving the dentist, Tommy," and I said, "Awesome. How was it?" She goes, "I got butterflies in my stomach." The dentist walks in and he goes, "Are you Tommy Mello's mother?" And she goes, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "Stop." He called in all the hygienists and the front desk girl, and he goes, "This is Tommy Mello's mom." And she goes, "I've never been so proud of you." And I was just grinning ear to ear because my mom, you know, it's a big deal. She's the number one woman. She always will be in my life. And you know, I'm just here to make her proud. And I'm trying to become a little bit better each day. But it meant a lot to me because when you say you're proud of me, and when my mom did, it really hits home. So thank you.
Yeah. And she doesn't pull any punches, Tommy, so I'm sure she means that. So my last one is a couple weeks ago I sent you that text and it said a few years ago you said you wanted to become the most influential guy in the home service industries. That was why you were doing what you were doing. And I said, congratulations, you have accomplished your goal. And your answer was, thank you, but I still got work to do. So what kind of work does Tommy got to do that he still feels like he can contribute to others and society, Tommy?
You know, there's a guy named Gary Vanderchuck, and there's another guy named Alex Hermosi. There's a few other guys I can name off. And they kind of figured out certain things on influence. And, you know, it's who, not how. So I just recruited one of the top guys that worked with Mr. Beast. And instead of, I've invested so much in A1, it's my family, and I will continue to. It'll always be part of my DNA. But I realized the larger A1 gets, the larger I get. We kind of work hand in hand. We're kind of, our identities align. And so we're building a team right now. There will be 15 full-time people just doing social media. So, you know, you said I see your videos occasionally. We're going to be, listen, I don't have to try to come up with content. I just do it. It's building the right team. So, you know, I think we could surpass all those guys put together. Success leaves clues. I always explain this to people. If you want to know how to get to the top of Google, search the biggest industry in your town and go call the guy at the top. So, you know, we're definitely affecting hundreds of thousands of people, but why not hundreds of millions? There's 9 billion people. The more I could affect people, help them get in the best shape of their life, feel positive when they look in the mirror, be more confident, have more freedom, be an influence with their community, their family, their friends, their relationships. And when I said it, I got work to do, what I meant was I'm just getting started. And, you know, there's certain people that become more powerful and you see what happens. They get evil. They let it go to their head. You'll see what I do. I'm just going to continue. I'm so grateful. And I will always be humble, even though I'm buying back my time. Like I said, this is just the beginning. I never, if I ever tell you guys that I've arrived, I want you to grab a shovel and bury a big hole in your backyard, and I'll come lay in there because I've got a lot of work to do. I'm just getting started working on myself. And as great as this all sounds, I still got so many things to work on, and I still have. A1 is doing so good, but there's piles and loads of money. There's gold in every direction I look. I mean, literally, my project list has never been bigger. People are like, man, it must feel good to have it all. I'm like, oh yeah, the money's nice because I have freedom. But I still have a huge obligation to the world. So like I said, I'm enjoying it though. Like I like it. I really do. People are like, man, how do you do your schedule? I'm like, no, man, it's not hard for me. It's almost machine like for me. I've got great people. I've got two EA. Like my schedule's planned. It's dialed. I ate lunch at the perfect time. All homemade meals. Like exactly with the right calories, the right fat, the right carbs, the right protein. Now it's on autopilot. So, and then like I said, the right rooms. So lots of work to go. But my dad and I were driving to Sedona on a golf trip, and he goes, you know, Tommy, God's got a much bigger plan. I'm so proud of you. But God's got way more for you, and you don't even see it yet. But just keep your heart and your eyes open because it's happening. And he goes, I prayed for you, you know, since the day you were born, and there's a big plan coming. So I'm open. We'll see.
Hey, man, stay on top of it. Like you say, Tommy, sharing the wisdom, helping other people. You show what your true insides are like. And I know that when you do become that father, and hey, don't keep waiting on that one, buddy. Don't keep waiting, okay? It's time to-
Hey, you're supposed to be married before you have kids, so whatever. We're working on that.
Well, that's an easy one. That's just setting it up, man. You can.
Hey, listen, Jerry, let me work.
Hey, you gave it when you give excuses. By the way, how is Bree? Last time we saw her, she was wearing a cast of boots, which said she fell in the airport. How's she doing?
Well, she's down 37 pounds. She's never been happier. She bought these sleeveless A1 shirts. We got rid of all the crap in the house. You know, we go for a walk about an hour a night. We burn about 500 calories. And when you burn 500 calories in an hour, it's really goofy, but we start looking at labels. We're not like crazy. We still eat stuff we like. But, you know, I took this thing of pistachios. It said 3 servings. It was a bag, small bag. 3 servings at 500 calories. I'm like, for this little bag, how much joy does this pistachios bring me? It's great for the 2 minutes, 3 minutes you eat them, but it's not worth 3 hours of my time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And everybody says, hey, it's easy for you to say. It's called a little bit of discipline. I just was on a podcast. I had a lady that wrote the book, Dopamine Nation. When you do hard things, and these things aren't that hard for me, but when you do hard things, it releases natural dopamine and serotonin. You feel this euphoria that no drug or alcohol can give you. It's this natural feeling. And when you got the right food, you know what a Lamborghini needs? It needs great fuel, the best oil. It needs to be taken care of. And I don't even know what's better than a Lamborghini. I'm like a freaking G7, but I need the stuff to fly. And so I've been putting the right stuff, and I got the right energy, the right focus, the right sleep. Shit, I'm going for 8 hours a night. I've been getting 7. I turned the TV down to 30 minutes a day. I've doubled down on reading. I've walked in Mother Nature and done nothing else but suck up the sun. It's got to be very early. I'm part of the 5 a.m. club now. And I've been going to bed at the right time and staying in sleep. I wear this Aura ring. This Aura ring tells me how many steps I'm shooting for 20,000 steps a day. There we go. 20,000 steps a day. And you know what? You will not get results in a week or a month. But you wake up on day 100, you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, this is kind of cool. And then you wake up a couple months later and you're like, people are like, your clothes don't fit right. And like, but for regardless of the vanity of looking good, it's the way that you feel. And it's the way that right now I'm affecting a lot of people within my business, the friends around me. And I'm watching them be inspired. And they're like, if he could do it, I could do it. And they're right. And if they could have this feeling that I have, I just need to keep going. But more importantly, when I was on the plane the other day, she said, when the mask pops down, make sure you put it on yourself first. You got to help yourself before you're going to help others. Don't judge anybody. Don't tell anybody else what to do until you get your own shit lined up and dialed in.
Fantastic words, man. You are on it. Stay on it. And you just said the key thing. You are affecting people's lives. You are encouraging them. You're driving them. You're coaching them. And, you know, yeah, you got a lot to go. But, hey, I'm glad you're not at my age because you wouldn't have as many years as you got, buddy. So you stay that course. And I just want to tell you, we really appreciate you being with us today, man. So good luck. I'll see you. I'm already registered for your Freedom event. I believe September, October, whichever it is. So I'll plan on seeing you there, brother.
One more thing. I'm pretty nostalgic. And I just ordered a car, not a Ferrari, not a Lamborghini. I don't know how well. Let me see here. Let me turn this around. This is the coolest thing ever. You see what that is?
So you're going to have a Batmobile.
The old Adam West Batmobile.
Really? The real one?
It's a replica, but it's going to take about 9 months to build. But yeah, I'm excited.
So now you're going to have that, and you're also going to have the Back to the Future car.
Yeah, you can catch me driving around with my childhood dream cars. I also have Herbie, and I've got Kit from Knight Rider. I love those. Man, every time I look at them, I just think about how much, like, I had a great childhood. It wasn't perfect, but man, to me, it was amazing. So yeah, I'm a nostalgic guy.
Okay, brother. Well, good luck.
Thanks, guys.
If I can ever help you out, you know where I'm at, brother. Appreciate you being here today. And with that, we appreciate you joining us for this very inspiring message from our friend Tommy Mello. We'll see you next week. Appreciate you being here with today. It's an honor, it's a privilege, and it's a pleasure. Thank you.